Warning.
This is the most important
podcast
of our lifetime.
Hello, everyone.
What is Hapatarian?
So what is Hapa? So when you put together Hapatarians, what is that?
You know the thing.
They're here to awkward it up for you guys.
Which is a very interesting and beautiful mix of humanity.
Anyone who has a podcast,
You're an extremist.
Shut up!
all right, let's get to it. Hey, what's happening? And welcome to the Hapatarian Show, the #1 podcast that celebrates Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month by not celebrating it. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and in the comments, tell us how much you love the Hapa ethno-state, because we know you love it. Our guests today also don't celebrate Asian American Pacific Islander Month, but they do celebrate typos. It's the hosts and executive producers of Trad Queen Story Hour, Sour Patch Lyds, and Andy. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh, typo in every twit.
Twit.
Yeah.
Yes. I promise it.
What's happening, guys?
Oh, I like that.
What's happening?
Yeah.
No one said that to us in a long time.
Good. Nice.
How's it going?
We're hanging in there.
Yeah, we're doing
Yeah.
okay.
It's been rough, not gonna lie. But
Yeah.
hopefully
Sorry.
things have been better for you guys.
Yeah. We're chilling. We're going to move down to Florida. Very exciting.
Very busy. A lot of stuff going on at once. I'm, we're pretty busy at my job at Public Square. We're getting ready to move out to Florida. So Public Square is moving out to Florida. So that's why Lydia and I are moving out to Florida to work on that. So yeah, we're packing and also, working long days. And sometimes I have enough time to help Lydia a little bit with the show.
Yeah. I feel like I'm learning a lot. I'm doing all the technical stuff behind the scenes, and Andy's kind of coaching us as we go along. So it's fun. Staying busy, keeping up on the news. It's a good time.
Oh, yeah.
And then you also just announced your pregnancy recently. So
Oh, yeah.
congratulations again.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess that was a
good.
factor too in
That-
the busyness. Yeah.
That is a factor. Yeah. A lot more appointments than before, but yeah, so far so good. We're looking forward to it. So
a lot less energy to do things on your side.
Yeah,
since you're
kind of complaining a lot, but oh well, it's all good.
well, you're busy building a person. So.
Yeah, and I get to
Yeah.
complain a little bit, I guess.
That was my excuse too. Like if I felt like I wasn't doing anything, well, I'm building a person right now, so that's my job.
Yeah. It's a full-time job.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Florida is a good state to raise kids, though.
Yeah, they just passed a bunch of cool bills as far as family goes, and I was reading something about how they compensate for like baby and kid items, which is super cool. So I'm really glad we're waiting to get all that stuff. Yeah. And they don't have income tax. So I'm stoked for it. They have problems.
Right.
It's all good, but I'm excited. It's going to be good. If hot. It's going to be hot.
I was going to say, I'd rather be hot than cold, so I'm pretty jealous.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super muggy. Thankfully, baby's not due till October. So hopefully it's kind of cool then, but I'm not holding my breath, but it'll be all right. Still excited. It's gonna be good.
The thick of the pregnancy is going to be it's going to be in the 100 degree 100%
100% humidity. Yeah,
Oh,
it's gonna
yeah.
be good. Swimming through the air. So
but we'll be close to the beach, so
yeah, that'll be fun.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, just stay inside, wear compression socks, turn up the AC.
that's
You'll
the
be okay.
plan. No, I'm excited for that.
needed to get some compression socks soon.
Yeah, I do. I gotta find those. Yeah.
So actually kind of that's where we wanted to start, was just the whole parenting thing. Have you done any kind of like adjusting with that whole thing? Because I mean, obviously it's a huge thing that's going to be happening in your lives, a big change. Of course, like with moving to Florida, that's a big thing, obviously. But is there anything else, like maybe a mindset or just how you've kind of perceived parenting before all this? So how's that whole thing changed and all that?
I've been enjoying learning. Mostly I've been learning about the work up to having a baby, not so much about the child rearing itself. But I was talking to Andy about it today, and I said, there's no way that our kid is not extremely strong willed. So we're gonna have to prepare ourselves for that. And we read the first chapter out of they disappeared.
Oh, we lost you
yeah,
guys.
no, they figured it out. They made us big. Remember? Yeah.
Oh,
Well, we're full of surprises.
I know. We read the first chapter out of Baby Wise, and they lay the foundation of being like, okay, you need a strong marriage because any discord in your marriage is going to affect your baby. And that's smart because Andy has this idea that we remember things that we don't technically remember, like from the time you're born, makes a difference to you whether you realize it or not. I think that's probably true. I mean, our earliest conscious memories are from when we're like 3 years old, but our brains are building like crazy before that time. So, got to be stuff in there that makes a difference to us. So,
yeah.
we've been working on our marriage, making that stronger, which is good. That's an adventure too. And then, yeah, so I'm thinking we're going to like Baby Wise, but you're going to get all kinds of different advice about baby books. Like I was talking to Bethany Mandel, and she's like, I don't read kid raising books. She has 6. And she's like, they're all so different.
Choose the first 3 to kind of figure out the last 3.
Gonna practice with the first 3, and then the last 3 are good. You just kind of fly by the seat of your pants and go based on what your kid is like, which I think is a good policy. So I don't know. We'll see. See what happens.
I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
Because we tried to read a bunch of stuff beforehand, and then everything didn't go as planned.
Yeah.
So.
Nothing ever goes as planned. Like you have this big plan for the birth or whatever, and then surprise, you need a C-section or whatever, and go with the flow, man. It's all good.
Well, like to expand on what she was talking about, it's not like there's a lot of people who kind of have a mystical sort of idea about like kids kind of absorb like, I don't know, all the Freudian things and stuff like that, which I don't think it's in terms of that. I don't know how much of that is true or not, but the way that I think of the development of a baby's brain is, it's growing more than any normal, adult ever will. And every second of its life, it's just like building its reality. So it might not have like a way to construct a coherent memory at that time, but everything that happens to the baby is, it's building its reality on that. And then that's kind of the foundation that's laid before it's able to form memories for the future. So
yeah,
that's why I think it's like, people think, oh, don't worry about it. He's not going to understand what's going on. Like it's hard to say how much a baby will take in and kind of, maybe they won't fully understand it, but they could usually tell kind of probably things like what's right and wrong and what's,
Well, like this book is saying they can sense the vibe. Like they'll sense if there's unrest in your relationship. So I'm fully inclined to believe that because to me that just makes sense. But we'll see. Well, I have no idea what's going to happen. We haven't had kids before, so
a little practice
we have
out there. Yeah,
we got a puppy. She's shouting out there right now, but that's the closest thing we've had to a puppy. It's because the dogs are barking outside.
Yeah, we don't have anything to pawn her off on right now.
Yeah, I have a puppy sitter right now.
Yeah,
it's all good.
I do. So you read Baby Wise, the book?
Yeah, I started it. I haven't gotten all over it.
The only reason I read that was to learn about wake windows, because like in the beginning I was so exhausted, couldn't get him to sleep on any schedule, but that book helped a lot.
Yeah, I also have The Happiest Baby on the Block, and that one looks legit. I'm gonna try swaddling. So you like swaddle and you make sure you have the right sound. So it's got to be like kind of loud white noise. You got to jiggle them, not shake them. You jiggle them at like on your knee or whatever. Because when before they're born, right, they're constantly moving and they're exposed to this really loud noise. He can hear me right now. They them can hear me right now. We don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You
never know.
Referring to it as they them.
Yeah.
Like in the Instagram post that you posted.
They were like, "Why are
And,
you calling it
yeah,
that?"
there's a lot of people that got really mad. They're like, I can't
Really?
believe that you would stand
It's
against all
hilarious.
these things and then you cave to their woke language, or what did she say exactly?
Yeah, you're kind of caving to it right now. And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, it's hilarious. So shush. But also, we don't know if it's a boy or a girl. So I feel like that's really the only time you can use the expression they to refer to your kid, right? True,
I mean, it's
there's only one, but we don't know what
better
it is.
than saying it, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a human being. So I'm going to call it a person, them, a person.
He or she is just too clunky. So
Yeah, so it's shorter to call it them. So that's what we're up to. But yeah, the wake windows thing sounds vital because I don't know how I'm going to survive without sleep. I'm genuinely kind of concerned about that. But
Yeah,
you guys survived.
yeah, I underestimated that. Like, I didn't really even think about it until that started happening, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna die because
Yeah, you get like this level of energy that you didn't know you had until
Yeah.
like you're running on 3 hours or even less than that, and you're just like, how am I still awake and doing all this stuff? I don't even understand.
Delirious, yeah.
Yeah,
It
and
sounds awful. Man.
yeah, but I mean, like that. At least for our experience, the first 3 or 4 months were definitely the most difficult. But then once you get past that,
it got better.
it got.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't get easier, but it definitely did get
used to
better.
it.
Yeah, you get used to
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah.
You adjust.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Our son, well, I don't know. Some people get their, like, some babies are like easier than others, but our son didn't sleep through the night until like 18 months. So it was like a year and a half of sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Did you try to sleep during the day then? Or they say to just sleep when the baby sleeps. Like you don't have chores in a life, right?
That's such, I don't know about that advice because it's like, oh, the baby's sleeping, but we're on a walk. Am I supposed to drop the stroller?
Yeah,
and
just
You
lie
can
down on the
sleep. You
floor.
can sleepwalk.
There you go. You're gonna be doing
That
that.
sounds really difficult. Or like the baby sleeps in the car. Oh, okay. I guess just pull over and go take a nap now.
Safe, yeah, definitely.
it's so hard for me sometimes to get in a regular sleep schedule just with the two of us. So like, sleeping whenever some little baby is sleeping, that wouldn't work.
It's not gonna happen. Yeah, I'm gonna designate to him on the nights when he can't sleep. Be like, hey, you take care of the baby so I can get some sleep. That's the plan so far. We'll see what happens.
Take
Yeah.
shifts.
Yeah.
And if you're able to get 3 to 4 hours of sleep, that's gonna be like heaven for you.
Man.
You're gonna be like, oh man, I got 4 hours of sleep. Oh, I feel so fresh. I can do anything now.
Oh my gosh, they're scaring me. I don't like that.
It'll be fine. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully, maybe this one's an easy one because I hear that's how they trick you into having another one.
Yeah, we should.
that's
bank
true.
on that.
Some
Yeah.
people get a super easy baby the first time, and then their second one is totally different.
Yeah, I hear that.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah, as soon as you figure out the first one, the second one comes along and just turns everything on its head. I'm like, oh well, that sounds like
We should
ready
be getting
for
our
it.
easy baby next time then, because I feel like we did everything on hard
Yeah.
mode.
I hope so.
Yeah. It definitely like matures you in a way that you haven't felt before. I don't even really know how to phrase it right, but you just become a completely different person. Not just because you're not getting to sleep, but for
Not like
real,
that.
like just the mental and the fact that holy, I'm like there's a baby and this is my baby. Like, I'm taking care of it, and it's so crazy. And and then we're not trying to like scare you or anything. It's just, I mean, your experience is going to be completely unique to anyone else that's raising children. So, I mean, we have a unique experience. You're going to have one, and it's definitely life changing. And it's something that like anytime you hear that, you go, I don't know, like because you hear a lot of people be like, I don't really want kids, but then once they have it, they're like, wow, I wish I had gotten this done sooner.
Right.
Like, do you kind of feel like that too? You're just like, man, I mean, obviously
You can't control when you meet your significant other. So
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Like you said, everyone is different. And our timeline ended up being a little more delayed than some people, but would not change it for the world. Like the tough times that we both been through, made us into way better people, stronger people, and like really grateful to be where we are now. So I'm happy. I'm pleased with where we're at. I'm excited for the future. So
Yeah, I don't think I would have been really ready. Not that I'm like I feel ready now, but I'm at a point where I kind of understand, what everybody's always saying about having kids. It's like, oh yeah, literally nobody's ever ready to have kids
Right.
in the
Yeah.
history of the human race.
yeah.
And it's just you just once you accept that and that you will do your best and hope for the best,
Yeah.
then maybe that's what ready is for.
Yep. It's a mindset.
Yeah.
Tackle this and do the best I can. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so we're both in our 30s now.
So are we.
Are you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good time, right? Being in your
Yeah.
30s,
Yeah.
I feel like, is when life kind of settles out. And you're like, all right, okay, I feel like I've gotten all my crazy
Yeah.
whatever out of the way. Now I can kind of chill, reassess where I am, and kind of figure out where I'm going now. And it seems good. So, yeah,
Become
Yeah.
a real adult.
that's right.
Right.
True adulthood
Yeah,
starts
yeah.
when you're 30.
Yeah, adulting they call it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
was just going to say that you're mentioning that you feel like, would you say you're happier now than ever before? Because I wanted to read a tweet of yours and I want to know that like how you feel about it. I mean, obviously you tweeted it, so maybe you kind of know. I don't know if you feel any differently. It wasn't like you did it like.
Who's that? Mine or?
Oh no, Lydia. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I should
Yeah,
probably direct who I'm talking about. But anyway, so this was on April 24th this year. This is one of your tweets, Lydia. This isn't like I'm trying to like bash you or anything. So
No,
get
it's fine.
ready.
Anyway.
No, I'm kidding.
Well, I said it. I'll stand by it.
Anyway, so it says, here are the happy people in the U.S. 1, people who are married or who respect marriage. 2, people who believe in or respect God. 3, people involved in their communities. 4, people who don't attach inordinate value to finances. It's not too complicated.
Yeah. So
I
I
read
was
that one.
I was listening to I forget who it was. It was somebody on the Daily Wire who was reading statistics about this, and they're like, okay, so here's what these people have in common, right? And I was like, that's really simple. That doesn't sound unattainable, right? But you can see where our society is so it's wrong. It's really, really wrong. It's really broken. Like, we don't understand the value of marriage. We don't think it's trendy to be monogamous. I was just reading about how polygamy is being, or polyamory, excuse me, is becoming codified, like more allowable and more accepted for like employment benefits and hospital visitation stuff. And I'm just like, why are we doing this? Like, have we not gone far enough away from traditional marriage to notice that it's not working? Are we just going to try everything before we're like, okay, none of this is making me happy? Maybe I should go back to the way things were. And maybe we as a society have to do that. But I have been hearing positive things too, where Gen Z and millennials are starting to think more seriously about stuff like church. And I'm like, that's great, because there's your opportunity to volunteer, right? There's your chance to find your community and find people who need your help. Like, they're going to need childcare. They're going to need like people to, I don't know, clean up after service or whatever. And it's like, it's very neatly rolled into one. You find your faith community, and then you also have like a real structure. When you're sick, they can bring you meals and stuff. And I'm like, that would make you happy. That would make you feel like you had support and like you had a system to fall back on. That's really important for people. And I think we've kind of discarded it. It's made us really crabby.
Yeah, one of the things about like kind of the like institution of churches has gone away. It's gone like out of fashion over the last 100 or so years.
50-ish, yeah.
Yeah, mostly in the last 50 years, probably. And it's like that was the standard, like that was a standard like piece of the fabric of society for thousands of years before that. Some kind of church or another. And then all of a sudden we just dispense with it without replacing it with anything. really,
Right.
you know? And so even if you're not religious, you still have to stop and think like, isn't there maybe some pieces of that we're not necessarily replacing with something at all, or maybe something at least as,
Substantive.
yeah.
Well, I think we can really feel the absence. Like people feel disconnected. And I
Mhm.
know we have social media, right? Where we go on and we can meet people. And it's like that's not meeting people. It's not sitting down functionally face to face like we are now. You're just getting their curated version of themselves, best pictures of themselves on Instagram. Look what I did. Look at my cute puppy. And that's it. You're like, oh, does this person have sleepless nights? Are they depressed? Do they get discouraged? You don't know. All you see is the perfectest version, and you're not actually building a community. And we feel it. I think that's part of what makes us really depressed. I think that's why most of us are on antidepressants. Just sad.
Yeah, it's like they say with I don't know who they is, but I'm gonna say it. So like Instagram, like you were saying, is that perfect version that the person who's presenting it, that's who they wanted to be. That's who they want to be right there. And then Twitter is the complete opposite. It's just a place where you throw shit all over the place. Yeah, let's see what sticks. Fuck you. I don't like it. Everyone's like arguing over the dumbest stuff ever.
Just the words.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm sure some of that conversation is warranted and some of it's actually meaningful. I mean, we met on Twitter, so Twitter, at least to us, is great in that capacity. But then you see some of the things on Twitter, it's like, why am I on this? Because you complain about Twitter, but then I'm still scrolling on this for another half hour. What else is going on Twitter?
Right. Well, it's like a fast reel of what's happening, and I have always liked the news. Like I literally remember my first political realization, my first cultural realization when I was like 11. I remember where I was, and I was like, oh my gosh, if feminists actually cared about women, they wouldn't be telling them to be overweight because that's going to shorten their lives. If you cared about women, you would want them to see their grandkids, right? So I was like, okay, so feminists don't care about women. What else is a lie? And I was like, okay, people who say they hate racism are actually acting like racists. And I was like, oh, this is the way the world works. That's interesting. So when I met Twitter, I was like, whoa, here's everything super fast. I like that about it, right? I'm like, okay, what's going on now? I'm not going to go to a news site. I'm going to go to Twitter where I directly commune with a bunch of journalists who are like spitting this stuff out 24/7. So I think it's great. It's just not maybe for everyone.
Yeah.
You have to be okay with the poop slinging.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of I just kind of started using Twitter sort of this year because basically, in the IT and especially like in the InfoSec world, that's kind of where all the stuff breaks and things
Stuff
like that.
happens, yeah.
And obviously Lydia's on Twitter, so I always want to keep track of her and stuff. So I don't know. I've been trying to kind of like meter my use of it as much as possible, although I've found myself, stuck on it more and more often.
It's
probably
a risk.
something I should be careful about because it's so easy to just, it's so addictive. It's so easy to just spend an hour and not realize that you've been scrolling for this whole time in like one thread that's about something that you've never heard of before. And you're just like,
You're kind of learning, but you're also just kind of seeing what other people think of it.
It's like people watching
Yeah.
more than anything.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, these people exist, huh?
Yeah. What about that?
Like,
Ooh.
what do they think? Oh, no.
Yikes.
That's no good.
At least they're telling you what they really think, I guess, right?
Yeah. I mean, and it's not quite the same as like having, going through like, even like Reddit back in the day was pretty open to just about anybody, but like, 4chan, I've been on a few times and like, you can find just about anybody in those kinds of seedy parts of the internet. And Twitter has like a very sort of, it's like a PG-13 version of that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not so bad.
Yeah, Reddit can definitely be a good time.
Yeah.
Right.
I was never on 4chan. I mean, I browse Reddit just for the the interesting stories, but I don't post anything.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the reasons why we even started this whole thing was the whole Our Happas
Oh, yeah.
subreddit.
That's true. There was a subreddit for Happas, but it was just self-hating people, like mad that their mom and dad were different races.
I don't know who I am. What am I?
Okay, all right. So Hapa is half Pacific Asian,
Oh,
correct?
okay,
I don't
right.
want to mischaracterize.
Yeah.
Half
Yeah.
Pacific Asian. Okay.
Yeah, Hapa. Yeah.
So you're,
Hence the joke at the beginning of the show where we said we celebrate it by not celebrating it.
Yeah, it's great.
what is half Pacific? So you're just
So Pacific Islander, that would be like
Yeah.
Samoan or whatever, like
Right.
Hawaiian.
so like a
They're like all that stuff.
half
over
that
there.
and half something else. Is that
Yeah,
Half
usually
Okay.
white. Yeah.
usually white, because I think if you're half black and
Yeah.
half Asian, they call you Blake.
If you're
Blasian.
Tiger Woods, then you're good because you're awesome. Like you can
Right.
actually
Oh,
play
yeah.
golf really, really well.
But yeah, we had friends who were half Chinese and half African American, and they called themselves Blasian,
Hmm.
which I thought was great. I was a little bit jealous because I was like, I don't know, I'm just white. That's cool though.
You're a self-hating white woman.
No.
Right?
Speaking
Yeah.
of
Tim
race,
Pool's like
this is a good segue.
clapper.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of race, we're gonna speak about race now.
Oh, great.
Oh boy.
We love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's you should. You're
Do you want me to do it?
yeah you
Was it this one? Is this one right?
yeah
Okay.
the
Yeah.
New
So-
York Karen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
the big controversy or I guess controversy that's been going around is this lady, quote unquote lady. Never mind. So the
Karen.
title of this, yeah. So NYC hospital Karen paid for city bike at center of viral fight with black man lawyer.
According to her lawyer, yeah.
Yeah. So
Just-
um
Go
uh,
ahead.
have
Sorry.
you? And I'm assuming you both have watched the video.
Yeah.
I kind of listened to it.
Yeah. Well, I saw
I just
it.
read analysis and stuff, and I kind of listened to them yelling at her, and I was like, "Yo, that's not cool." But
I saw it. One thing that jumps out at me right away is that this is a pregnant woman, and it kind of doesn't matter like who's stealing the bike. If somebody is like, if a pregnant woman is stealing your bike, like you don't manhandle her on
yeah,
the belly. Like that's
it's
pretty.
well.
And it's it's just a weird situation there. And then what makes it the worst though, I mean, it's just a misunderstanding, or maybe somebody was intentionally being deceitful or something, but then it's what people around it kind of who was that guy who tweeted out something about how she's a white supremacist.
Is it Benjamin Crump?
Was
Oh
it-
yeah, Benjamin Crump.
Yeah. So, and then somebody said, "How did you get that that accusation? Like, where does that come from?" And he basically, what did he say? He said, "Well, she was being mean to black people." So
Yeah, well, I think
What was
he
it?
probably made a historical comparison. So, like, this is like Emmett Till level nonsense of
Oh,
racism.
come on.
That's
I
ridiculous.
believe. I'm not sure if he said that. I will say that if he's saying that this is what caused black men to be killed, then he's referring to lynchings, which would be directly linked to Emmett Till, which is absolutely mind blowing.
Did he say Emmett Till in the?
No. I'm just saying what I
Okay.
think is probably happening.
Oh, we should.
I didn't
clarify
see
that,
the
yeah.
tweet itself, though. I didn't.
Although not
so
that
I
we
deleted
wouldn't want to falsely attribute words to him, considering what he's done. So, and the way that he phrased it was accused white supremacist, and somebody said, yeah, that's where it was. So he said accused white supremacist, and then somebody said, who accused him of being a white supremacist? He says, I
me,
accused
yeah, me, yeah. What?
So it's an accurate statement, technically. Yeah.
Technically correct.
And he's actually technically an accused pedophile, I believe. So.
I heard that too.
Oh boy.
Oh, what can I say? Thanks for introducing that, dear. That's great. Appreciate it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know that's not good for the
Not good
tubes.
for the algorithm. You can take
Yeah.
that out if you want.
Yeah, we can edit that out.
But yeah, what did you guys think about that?
So I guess just in case anyone hasn't watched the video, it's all over Twitter or probably TikTok and Instagram too. But so there was this woman who was shown on video, and it looks like the people who were harassing her took the video. they were insisting that she was stealing their bike, but later it came out that she had paid for the bike already and she had receipts.
Literally
showing,
receipts.
Yeah.
Yeah, she came with receipts, literally. And she also got a lawyer because didn't her job like come out and suspend her?
Right?
No, they suspended
Suspended.
her. Yeah. They're like, we're going to figure this out. But for now, we're very diverse and all this other stuff. And I'm like, come on, man. But
Wow.
yeah, she's suspended for now, not fired.
Yeah, and she was also 6 months pregnant, and she worked at a hospital in New York City.
She shouldn't be biking in that condition anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was
She's
thinking.
very ambitious. I was like, wow, good for her. She had just worked 12 hours and then she was going to bike home. Like, wow,
Wow.
that's honestly impressive.
That's crazy, yeah.
It's like, dang.
I know. By 6 months pregnant with my son, I was like, I can barely walk.
Yeah,
Like,
that
Nah,
was-
I'm good. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I felt bad for her because I was like, she's got to be exhausted. I'm sure her feet are super swollen. She cannot want to bike home, but it might be the fastest way to get home, knowing New York City, right? So,
In the video, you see basically it's it's like all those videos. It kind of starts a little bit in the middle. So
Mhm.
you don't know what really happened before that, but it's clear that there's like a disagreement over this bike, and they're kind of both got their hands on it. I think there's like a dock for the bike for like recharging and stuff, or
Yeah.
whatever. And so she's like trying to, I think, there's like a struggle. I don't know if it's already been docked and she's trying to take it out, or if he's trying to put it in there to dock it. And so what she said was that basically she paid for the bike and was going to take it out, and then they forced it back in so that they could like pay for it and take it out instead of her. And then there was this receipt that came out that was released by her legal team that has a $0 charge on it, which is kind of what I would expect to see if you took out a bike for like a second,
right.
and then change your mind and put it back. There's probably a grace period,
Like
right?
5 minutes or
Mm.
whatever. Yeah.
But that would be easily tested, or you could get that information from the company.
Yeah.
And so like that corroborates her story. And then they supposedly also have a receipt for it, which would make sense if they did put it back in and then pay for the bike after. So it's possible that we missed some pieces of it, but it kind of sounds like her story was corroborated, and it's not clear if there's other pieces that we're missing on their side of the story. But I mean, the biggest thing is like we all don't know what happened, but everybody has to have this certain opinion about it. And like, can't we like speculate about things without making final judgment calls on people beforehand?
Yeah.
Well, especially with it being a race issue, everybody just jumps
they
into.
make it into a race.
Oh
issue.
my gosh, it's a black
Immediately.
guys and this freaking white woman's taking this bike, and
And
clearly
something
she's
about-
the one that's stealing the bike from them. Or
Yeah, and
whatever.
also people talking about her. Like, see, she did start crying, and now they're saying like, "Oh, you're just weaponizing your tears to get people on your side."
She's pregnant. Of course she's gonna cry.
yeah,
She's
she's
gonna
like way
cry.
way emotional.
Yeah.
It said she stops crying quickly after the physical struggle stops. It's like maybe she just didn't. She wanted to put up a
Stoic front. She's like, all right, I
Yeah.
got to get it together.
and she lost it for a little bit and then regained her composure.
Yeah.
But that's no matter how fake it seems in a situation like that. It's kind of hard to judge the way that someone expresses their emotions in a tense situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the whole filming thing is what really bothers me, because we would never know about this situation if somebody hadn't released this video online, and then subsequently then she gets suspended from her job and gets doxxed. I just feel like
yeah.
these situations we shouldn't even know about,
Right. We never used to know about this kind of stuff, but now it seems like there's a very, like a literal black and white narrative to push here, right? Because it turns out that Americans actually have a lot in common with each other. And if you're struggling through life in New York City, you probably have way more in common with the person next to you than you have with the person in Ohio or whatever. They need division. I will tell you right now that they want it right before this election. They want to try to push, because this is exactly what happened in the summer of 2020, right? And I refuse, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I still refuse to believe that they just could not control what happened in the summer of 2020. To me, it really felt like they intentionally chose, the governors in these blue states chose to allow this to happen. Like, as I recall, Trump was offering to send National Guard troops to them and they turned him down, because why would you take troops from the mean orange man, right? And meanwhile, they're literally destroying people's livelihoods and businesses, and in some cases, their actual lives.
Yeah,
So
it was fine to go to a Black Lives Matter protest, but if you tried to go to the synagogue or
you're gonna get
church
COVID.
or something, they would send FBI agents or local agents after you to spy on you and check on how many people are going. And
Right.
Yeah, I mean, clearly they were pretty plainly allowing people to protest throughout that 9 months of riots, when nobody else was really explicitly allowed to go out unless they were quote unquote essential workers.
I'll never remember this paper from, I forget what college in Colorado, I think maybe UC Denver, talking about how actually scientists agreed that it was fine for you to go protest for Black Lives Matter. You wouldn't get COVID. And I was like, that's great. Oh my gosh. Who knew that science could do that kind of stuff?
Wow. COVID's such a
remember that
smart
one.
virus.
You know, right?
It's an
Racial
anti-racist
monster.
virus.
I
That's
know.
right.
I
I
think
know.
the argument was, if it's what I was thinking, what I'm thinking of is basically they said that racism is such a
It's a public health crisis.
Yeah, it's such a public health crisis that it outweighs the downsides to go protest, because you're doing so much good by going to I mean, obviously not everybody was going out and burning down buildings and causing riots, but there was a lot of that. I remember the first day that it broke out here in Boston, there was this massive looting on Newbury Street, which is kind of our big, that's all the Gucci and those kinds of
it's the Golden
upscale-
Mile in Boston.
And it was just like completely sacked. Like just every single store was emptied of anything valuable, pretty much. And it's like, okay, so how is this helping
Inclusion.
Yeah.
I don't know. Very inclusive. No idea. Yeah, but I do think that they need and want that division. I think they use race because it's so easy to see. And that's been simmering. It's something they've been working on in the schools with critical race theory. We saw that on the subway with Daniel Penny and Jordan Neely. I know the hospital lady has a GoFundMe and Daniel Penny has a Give, Send, Go. And I can't help feeling that we're watching the country separate right in front of our eyes. And I don't know. It's not a civil war, technically, because we're like voting with our dollars, right? We're like, we want justice for this person. We're going to make sure their legal fund is loaded or whatever. First of all, these people shouldn't be tried in the court of public opinion. None of them. And this is why I have such a very strong reaction to people telling me, for example, with this lady, they're like, oh, well, she voted this way. This is what she wanted. And I'm like, no one. I don't care who you voted for. No one deserves to be tried in the court of public opinion before you even have a chance to get in front of a jury of your peers. Seriously, that's not how it's supposed to work. I don't care who you vote for. You are a human being deserving of fundamental human right to line justice, basically. So that was my big deal with it. So you're right about the filming, that we never should have been able to see it in the first place.
There's a lot of stuff that everybody seems to care about that feels like not my business going around these days.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's definitely a new. Well, one thing is like everything's kind of accelerating so quickly, and you hear people say things like, "Oh, they should," they deserve it because they voted this way, they voted for that, and it's like a lot of the people in this, on this side of the political spectrum, like they kind of became, on this side in the last 3 years or something.
Right.
There's a lot of former Obama voters in like the Trump camp.
Yeah.
And like you'll hear them say things like, they voted for these these liberal policies in these cities, and it's like, so did you, like 5 years ago. Can you give these people a break who are just like, a couple of years behind you?
Right.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that because you had mentioned filming, you guys were mentioning filming, whatever. To move on to the next story that we were gonna talk about.
Another thing that we should never see, but we're gonna show you guys anyway.
Right.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So we're part of the problem, as they say.
But not the podcast part of the problem.
Right. So you can maybe give a little background on.
Oh, it was just this viral TikTok trend going around where people walk into random people's houses, which is like terrible, by the way. Like that sounds like a terrible idea.
What? Oh my gosh.
So
viral robbery trend.
Right. Break and enter.
I think this is from the UK, right?
I think so.
I guess we'll be able to tell by their accents. We'll
Right.
see.
All right. We gotta listen.
Can we
Walking into random houses, let's go.
That's definitely.
Oh wow. The music in the background.
Right. Everyone just relax.
Okay, so this is just a robbery, clearly, from these people's perspective.
James.
That's a B&E.
Man, come.
Hello, James.
I need to speak to James.
James.
Huh.
James.
Oh my god.
Is this where the study group is?
No. No. What door number is this? No.
Study group.
Come on. Come on. Just be one guy. Come on.
Wait, this is not where the study group is.
You got kids, man.
Oh, you got kids? Oh, sorry. Oh, I thought this was the study group. I actually thought. Ain't this the study group?
Did the kids say bye? I'm sorry, but that's cute.
What the hell? Oh my god.
He was very polite to those people.
That's what I was thinking. Like
They're British, they're very polite.
Yeah.
If that happened in the US, I wonder if that would have went down.
Yeah,
different.
that probably would have.
Yeah.
Especially in certain states where if you go in their house, like get the fuck out of my house, start blasting away.
It's castle doctrine. Someone breaks into your house. They value their presence in your house apparently more than they value their lives. So, bye.
Yeah.
That's dangerous as hell. Holy crap.
Not true where we live currently, I think.
It will be.
But
It will be.
in Florida, I think it is.
And in Colorado, as I recall, there is a Make My Day law, which is very interestingly
That one
titled.
sounds good.
Sounds like fun, right?
What is it called?
It's called Make My Day.
Go ahead.
Where is it?
Make
Where's
My
that?
Day.
Yeah.
And it's basically stand your ground. Castle doctrine. Your
Names with a
home.
cooler name, is
Yes,
that it?
basically.
Okay.
Yeah, you can look into it if you want to learn more about it. But
Hmm.
I thought the name was super great. Yeah, that would be very different in the US. But you could probably get away with it in some blue states, although people might be much more suspicious of you entering their home in like a blue city. That's not good.
Yeah, I think, in a lot of blue cities where you would technically it would technically be illegal to like fight one of those people for invading your home. Those would probably be the more dangerous places to do that.
They might be prepared for you in ways you don't expect. What did you guys think about that? That's crazy. I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, that's basically my thinking. I'm thinking like if this is supposed to be a cute little trend, this is like a good way to get killed.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't keep happening because apparently it's supposed to be a TikTok trend. I haven't looked at the other videos, but
So I'm gonna make like a reach. Maybe I don't know if you would consider this a
no.
reach, but like the whole freedom of movement thing, the door is open. So if I say, "Oh yeah, a door's open," oh yeah, I can come on in. It's cool. But
It's someone else's property.
you just
though.
go into someone's property and be like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Like, no, is this where the study group is? Oh yeah, and just walking
Please.
around like these people who are like, "Oh no, humans have the freedom of movement." So there's an example right there where no, you can't just come into my freaking house. Like, how dare you?
That would be then freedom of association, right? I did
Right.
not choose to associate with you, but I do have a right to own firearms, theoretically, in most of these states. So, your risk, right? And maybe you'll see more videos of this from places like the UK, where they're more likely to not have
Any weapons?
artillery. Well, they have weapons. But
If
last
you can
I
have
heard,
firearms in a house in the UK, you almost certainly couldn't shoot anybody that enters.
right, it would be for hunting only. And
Yeah.
I'm sure if you fired a gun in a city setting, you would be gone for life. Last I heard, they were trying to take kitchen knives out of kitchens in England.
Yeah.
So, I mean, once you get rid of knives, people will start using rocks. So,
I mean, you can use like a icicle.
yeah,
to stab
literally,
someone.
yeah. An icicle would be an interesting weapon.
If you get rid of knives, though, how are you gonna cook?
They don't care. They have a knife problem. They're going to get rid of knives.
All the restaurants and fast food places like, oh hell yeah, more business for us.
Yeah. Everyone's going to start pureeing everything. It's disgusting. I mean,
Oh,
British food
gosh.
is questionable at best already, but yeah, it's not good.
I hate to sound like, I'm getting up there in age, and I got I got a kid on the way, so maybe it's just that point in my life, but it really feels like kids these days are. I mean, they're constantly barraged with anti-capitalist messages and all these adjacent ideological sort of offshoots of this. What's kind of started with, it seems like a traditional Marxism, but that's not really part of the actual. You call it like a curriculum, but it's just coming from every piece of popular culture and things like that, where they're learning critical race theory and all this anti-capitalist stuff and all this anti-human
Antinatalist,
ideas.
yeah.
And like things like all the systems that exist are there to oppress you, or if you're an oppressor, then all these systems are here to help you oppress other people because you're a bad person for how you were born. And so like it makes sense that kids would grow up with a sense of sort of disrespect for other people and their property and their
Yeah.
and you can see it when you see things like this. It's like it's not that uncommon now, and it didn't used to be. I mean, who knows? Like a lot of this probably has to do with those crazy people just have more cameras now.
Yeah, it's true too. They're filming, and they wouldn't be doing this if they didn't have social media, if they didn't have cameras on their phones 24/7.
To be fair, I had a lot of friends that were doing pretty
crazy stuff.
Yeah, we'll say that.
That's kind of illegal stuff. We won't get into it. No,
I didn't say that.
No, never. Yeah, I think there's this mindset among younger people. It's very nihilistic, right? There's this deep sense of ennui and angst, and other words that are kind of annoying to pronounce.
Other on words.
Yeah. and they don't care, right? Yeah. They don't care about their lives. They don't care about other people's lives. They don't care about babies' lives.
It's like when I was growing up, they had sort of largely stripped religion from society. And so we grew up in this very sort of scientific, almost like science replaced religion in a lot of ways. But then, now it's like they've kind of thrown science out the window and turned it into some,
Weird religion.
They've used that word to describe all sorts of bastardizations of it. And so now there's this kind of, postmodern weird nihilism, basically. It's
Hopeless.
like there's no real moral center, or other than basically the center of power and oppression and all that critical race theory kind of stuff. But it's not like a real moral compass kind of thing. It's just kind of that person's bad, that person's less bad, and that person's good because they're the most oppressed. And it's a very black and white hierarchical system.
Yeah.
And no real sense of what's right and wrong. Is just a function of like how you can deconstruct society's oppressive ways.
Shortcomings. Yeah.
Yeah, talk about social media, how like the saying that social media isn't real life, right? A lot of people will say things on social media that I don't think they would probably say something in real life, whatever real life is, I guess. But I mean, just the fact that, yeah, like you were saying, I think a lot of it does have to do with social media, where these people have this, like, I hate to use the term, but like this YOLO type of mentality where, oh, you only live once, do whatever you want,
Very nihilistic.
Yeah, it is nihilistic. And they make it sound fun because they're like, yeah, let's do it because I only have one life. But if you follow that through to its logical conclusion, you're like, I don't care. I'm here now. Nothing else matters. There's no afterlife, right? I don't care about what happens now. I'm not going to have kids. And this ties back into the happiness thing that we were talking about earlier. There's no future. And you talk about the systems of oppression and power. That turns you on yourself, right? You become the most important thing. And what we've been telling people our age is that you're great the way you are. And you're like, no, actually, I suck. So if I'm great the way I am, that's horrible. And this is Jordan Peterson talks about this. He's like, don't tell people they're fine the way they are because they're not. And they know it. Like, you can feel it. This is why he gives people practical things to work on, like cleaning your room. And people make fun of him for it. But I'm like, you don't realize what he's saying is really important, because when we've been telling people they're great their whole lives, and then they hit, 18, 21, 25, and they're like, oh, is this it? It's really the best I can be? Jeez, dude. It's depressing. That's like suicide, that's antidepressants, and everything tracks, right? That's where we are. We've told our kids they're awesome, and now they're like taking their own lives into their own hands and going into people's houses and doing crazy stuff. And it's like, kind of makes sense. And I feel bad for them. I'm like, maybe we should try to fix this. I don't know.
There's there's an important distinction to make, I think, between like it, everybody should understand that they're capable of great things, and that they are, there's a lot of greatness in everybody, and a lot of potential, but you shouldn't just, but it's been turned into this thing where you should just be content with whatever state you're in currently. Like, this is the best you can be right now, whatever it is. And then you're going to know deep down that that's not really what you want to be, or, what you think is the ideal, whatever your ideal self would be. So there's going to be a discord in that, and they'll try to fill it with other probably empty
bad things, really bad things, like addictions and, horrible perversions and weird sex stuff. And it's like, yeah, that all tracks, right? I really feel like that's where we are, which is unfortunate. But that took a very dark turn from people just wandering into other people's homes. But that's a weird,
it's a dark turn to take in itself.
That's an unsettling trend, right? Like, why would you do that? That's so dangerous. You have to know that. They just don't care. And
it's not just that it's dangerous, but it's also like, from the other people's perspective, that's going to be terrifying.
Yeah.
Because to them, that looks like a home invasion. And it's not like, it's not just because those kids are a certain race or anything like that. It's like you see a bunch of teenage boys barge into your house. That's going to be terrifying.
Yeah.
If you're just in your basement and your kids are upstairs. You obviously are going to jump right to the thinking that could be the worst kind of situation.
You're immediately in fight or flight mode. Like, you guys have a little one. I cannot imagine how you would feel if someone just strolled in through your door. If you guys are like working in the front yard or something, got the baby playing inside, watching TV or whatever, it just walks in. Oh my gosh. I can't even, immediate cortisol spike, like ready to fight with whatever's in your hand. Seriously, that's, but they don't care about other people. Like, they totally disregard, like you're saying, people in general. And that's scary. I don't like that. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, if this is happening in the US, even me, like, I would consider getting a weapon at that point, So
yeah. Well, you have a right. And I mean,
that's true.
I feel like probably everybody should know how they work. Like, this goes along with my philosophy that you should know what a gender affirming surgery looks like. You should know what an abortion looks like. I feel like everybody should also know how a gun works, how it feels, and what it looks like when it's used. So that'll help you feel better about it. And it'll help you kind of figure out how you feel about it in general. Like, this is really dangerous. I don't want to be around anyone who uses one of these. Or you can be like, oh, okay, it's a tool. Good people can use it for positive things. Bad people obviously could use it for really bad things. But it kind of helps you get familiar with it. And I'm just kind of a fan of people having all the information available to them.
Yeah, well, we'll end it there on that lovely note. So let everyone know where they can follow you on social media and your show and all that good stuff.
Awesome. Well, we've been streaming to 3 different platforms every night. We've been streaming to Rumble, to YouTube, and also to Twitter. Twitter obviously is not specifically well suited for an hour-long show, but we do have the show there. We have links to everything over there, and I am Sour Patch Lyds everywhere.
Yeah, I'm Andy Leiterman. It's just my name, pretty much everywhere.
Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, Twitter, Instagram, all those. And what's the name of your show?
Trad Queen Story Hour.
Trad Queen Story Hour, Sour Patch Lyds streams live every weeknight at
7 p.m. Eastern time. Correct. Yes.
And yeah, so we're streaming Twitter, Rumble, and YouTube simultaneously every night for now, but I think we'll probably drop Twitter because it's
now we know.
Yeah, right? It's not a great platform for that. Like, if you try to watch the stream after the fact on your phone, then you can't jump around in the video. So it's just and if you turn the screen, then sometimes it like restarts from the beginning. It's like an hour-long video. So.
Not ideal. Yeah. So yeah, Rumble. We're trying to get everybody to go over to alternate social media platforms.
So are we.
Yeah, it's for the best, and it's better to not have like a single point of failure anyway, right? You don't want just one place to be canceled from. A few.
So Trad Queen Story Hour can be found at rumble.com/sourpatchlyds and also youtube.com/sourpatchlyds if you have to watch on YouTube. And then so I'm working for Public Square, and we are an app and a marketplace that basically puts together all sorts of freedom-loving businesses in one place so that you can learn how to shop your conscience and find all sorts of patriotic businesses in your area or online.
Correct. Yeah, longest plug ever. Thank you guys so much for having us. We had a quite great time chatting.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I guess we can follow us on Twitter if you want to.
I know you were talking about not having or diversifying your platforms. I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks again for coming on. And for all those watching and listening, please tune in next time. Our guest will be Patrick McFarlane. He's the host of Vital Descent. So we're looking forward to that. And yeah, we'll go and end it there. See ya. The truck's backing up because they're hearing us. I think it's time to end this episode.
And smash that like button.
Yeah, smash that like button.
Just break your computer.
And don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button.
Bye.
Bye.